Hello, everybody. We'll just give people a few more minutes to join us, as we've only just started going live just this minute. So we'll just wait a few more moments for anyone else to join us. For those waiting, we're just giving everyone a couple of minutes to join the Hangout, and we'll get started in a couple of moments. Well, hello everyone, and we give you thanks for joining us today and spending your time looking at this Google Sites for Education webinar. We're going to spend the next half hour looking at how we've helped various different education establishments to improve their communication across the organization by using Google Sites. Let's make a start. So to give you a little background of where we're from, we'll just give you an interesting history of where Steegle came from and what we've been doing. So we've been using G Suite for a long time. We first used it when it was a beta as Gmail for your domain. And at that point in time, it literally just offered Gmail and Google Calendar. And then we progressed on as Google added in more features. We then immediately started using Google Sites, their web design tool. And we started using that very early on within its first week of launch. We then started offering services and free advice from our website, Steegle.com, and we've been doing that since 2008. We were noticed by Google and they considered us as a top resource and a very useful website. Some of our pages are still indexed in the Google Sites Help Center, and we get privileged access to the Google Sites team. We get to see some things early, and we also can elevate issues to them if we find that a lot of people are suffering from them. One of our founders, myself, I've always been based in education in my background. I worked in education and also in a teaching role. And so we have a unique advantage at looking at how Google Sites can help education. We've been involved in education sites for the past 9 years, developing, maintaining the various different clients. So where are we today? Well, we continue to work actively with Google. We sell and support G Suite and various different add-ons that we've developed and backup solutions as a Google Cloud partner, and we're very happy to do so. We're the #1 site for Google Sites experts globally. People have recognized us all over the world at what we do and help people with Google Sites. And we're one of the leading added value Google automation specialists. We have various unique tools that we can offer to all organizations of different sizes to help them automate the website or help find more interesting things from within inside G Suite. G Suite for Education, I'm sure a lot of you, if you are from schools, are using that already. It offers some really fantastic tools and has revolutionized how schools and universities and colleges can communicate with using Gmail, Google Docs, Google Drive at no cost at all. And there may be just some schools, some colleges that have not yet necessarily benefited from using Google Sites. So that's what we're going to try and highlight today and how it can help you improve that communication. We're based in the UK, but most of our clients are from North America and globally. We've helped several schools and universities in the US and Canada and other organisations further afield as well. Here's just some examples of our clients, education ones in specific that we've worked with. For revision courses, that's a UK-based out of curricular extra revision to help people pass their exams. The two district school boards there at the top are in Canada, and we've helped them, and they've both got over 3,000 staff each, help them access and build their intranet and provide both staff directories on both of those. The University of Maryland, Baltimore County, we've helped them migrate from Classic Sites to Google Sites. And also that's the same we're doing with LA Alliance. Again, a group of schools there that have got lots of different Google Sites all over the place. We'll help unify them into one homepage. And again, trying to get them all on the same style and all using new Google Sites. So let's have a look at the history of Google Sites, just in case you're unfamiliar with that. Google Sites was launched in 2008. It came out of an acquisition that Google made of a company called JotSpot, and JotSpot were already making a website tool. That was initially for Google Apps only, but then later on, very quickly, they made personal sites available too. And so there was no need to have a Google Apps account or a domain to use the Google Sites too. Various improvements came from Google over the years, things like gadgets and granular permissions in the page level permission model, and sites grew quite rapidly and became an extremely useful tool used by many across the globe. Google used Google Sites as its foundation for various business online campaigns that they had. In the UK, we had the Great British Get Your British Business Online, which gave you a domain and used the Google site to give you a web presence. That was then replicated around various different places all over the world. Then eventually, towards the end of 2016, Google launched its latest iteration of Google Sites called New Sites, and it gave a simple migration path from Classic Sites to new Google Sites. So with this change, what's the future of Google Sites? Well, in 2019, Google made some big announcements about Sites and its roadmap as to where it's going to take that. And some of the things that will be happening, some features in Classic Sites may stop working as they get very old and are no longer supported by Google. New features will be coming to new Google Sites, and it will give things like table of contents and image carousels, which have already been released. But Google has said they're working on making new sites a product you can use for very large sites, and various other things, search improvements through cloud search can be added to new Google Sites, and more improvements will come over time. Things like text formatting and other tools. Once these extra features are in there, and it's a closer match to Classic Sites, there will be an improved migration process to convert your Classic site to a new Google site to try and get a better match to what you used to have. Then at the end of 2021, this is the time where you need to have decided whether you want to migrate to new Google Sites or not. You don't have to. You will be able to export your site from Google in the Classic format and then host that somewhere else if you find the need to. Obviously, that will just be a hosted site. It won't have the editor there, and then you need to manually maintain it yourself. Alternatively, you can migrate to new Google Sites, and by the end of 2021, Classic Google Sites will close and only new Google Sites will remain. So this is something you just need to be aware of, and Google has given us a good deal of time to make sure that we are all ready to be able to do that. Just to give you a little explanation of some of the unique tools that we offer at Steegle.com to help make your internet experience just that little bit better. First of all, we have the Google Drive gadget. And as you know, in Google Sites, you can insert a Google Drive folder without any issue at all. Classic Sites has trouble inserting a shared drive, or as they were called, team drives. But so our gadget tool makes that easier if you're using Classic Sites. But also some of the options it gives, you can navigate around the folder structure actually in your site. You don't need to leave the site and open it up in a new window as you would do with what Google offers. And also, most importantly, you can perform search, and this works best on the shared drives, and it allows you to search the entire shared drive and make sure that you can find what you need to, and again, without having to leave the site. We'll be giving a demonstration of that functionality later on. The Google Drive gadget also offers download links, so if you want people to be able to just immediately download the file without having to open the preview first, you can do that also. Go to the G Suite directory. This is a tool that uses your G Suite user information and everything that is in there to help you find your colleagues and co-workers and easily and quickly see where they fit into the organization via an automatic organization chart. You can search people by department, you can search people by job role, you can even search by telephone number if you want to, and obviously you can search people by name and email address. Again, we'll be giving a demonstration of this later on. And so if you have any questions or any things you want to see that, please put that in the chat and we can make sure we get those answered. Student Profiler, this was a tool, again, we can demonstrate the first step of that tool later on. And this was to help one of our clients aim for A revision courses to automate their process of onboarding students and making sure they get the right information. The student would apply via their website, which is a Google site. They fill in the form and all their details, and this then automatically generates a student profile for the establishment to then pick the right tutor for that student, whether it's based on the subject, whether it's based on their level. They can get the right tutor for that student and then pass on that student profile to the tutor so the tutor knows how best to address any issues or any areas of improvement that student may need to work on. This has revolutionized how they work. Previously, they were copying and pasting from a form into a document and getting inconsistencies in the profile. And so automating that process for them helped them a great deal. And from that, we can do various bespoke workflows. For instance, other clients, we've made purchase order systems based in G Suite using the information from Google Sheets stored in Google Drive. We've also helped clients make dashboards and benchmarks to help show what work they're on with at the moment and how they're progressing with what research they may be doing. Again, we have a small demonstration of that later on in the webinar. So what we were trying to do in this webinar is try and help you see how you can use Google Sites to cope with the educational challenges that all educational establishments use. And here, just highlighting some of the issues that all educational establishments face and ways in which the Google Sites can help you cope with that. Complexity. As we know, the education now is a well-regulated environment by governments across the world, and we need to keep up to date with the statutory regulations, and you need to try and keep a uniform approach across your organization and various different schools and colleges to make sure that you're keeping up to date with everything that is required of you, making sure that you are compliant with those various regulations. Google Sites can help you do this by being that one source of the truth. You can make the site and publish your documents to there so people can go there and find what they need to know to reduce that complexity and help give you just that one place to be. It helps with communication, as you'll see in some of the examples that we are going to show later on. You can see that you can use Google Sites to help give a unified communication, that same message to everyone across the organization. You can do this by giving news articles on there. You can do this by helping people find the right place to be and finding the right documents so that everyone knows what's the right document and how that's been published. New Google Sites can help foster a community and help your staff be in a community-based approach and help them work together much better. It also helps them find the right tools so they can collaborate better, work on the same document without having to send emails backwards and forwards. It helps them really work in a much more streamlined fashion. Using Google Sites can signpost the people to the right place, to the tools they need to use, and the documents that they need to find. It helps with efficiency and automation, as we've mentioned already. Some of the tools that we can provide on top of Google Sites will help you automate some of your workflows and processes, and these can all be housed in Google Sites to give that one location for people to be able to join and find the right thing. This helps everyone be conformant with all the processes and procedures and policies that you may need to distribute, pardon me, distribute out to sorry about that. This will help you distribute those policies and procedures to help everyone stay on the same page when they're looking for the right thing to do. So now we'll dive into some examples of sites that we've made and some of the things that we've talked about and how some of these issues have been addressed by using Google Sites. The first one we'll jump to is Aim for A Revision. They're using classic sites still, and their website there gives a brochure of the various different offers they can make to help these young students revise better for their end of year exams. The site's informative and friendly, and people can find it easily in Google search, and this then allows them to also onboard these new students through their registration process. On the registration page, they have their Google form, and the student would fill in their details. They fill in quite a substantial amount of details of where they want to study, what their current situation is, and what their level is at, and what they want to achieve by working with this organisation. That then produces the student profile so that the tutor can address the needs as they need. Simcoe Muscoa Catholic District School Board is one of our, again, long-standing customers, and they came to us. Again, they needed an intranet to be able to deliver messages and information to the whole of their organisation. They wanted to be able to easily find their G Suite apps because they've just moved over to G Suite, so they provide the icons across the top there so people can find the right place to be and the right tool. They also have a staff directory, which we'll demonstrate later, and you can also easily jump through and find useful information that you can use while teaching in a classroom or just general advice about working your way around the different schools. Simcoe Muscoa has over 3,500 staff that access the intranet and use it on a regular basis to ensure that they've got access to all the various different tools and information that they need. The Chemical, Biochemical and Environmental Engineering Department of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County approached us as they had a number of classic Google sites that they wanted to migrate to new Google sites. They asked us to help them design the theme and then help them through the process of actually migrating the site over. If you've ever used the migration tool from classic sites to new Google sites, you'll find that it takes all of the information over without any issue. But what the problem is then is you then need to reformat and make it work well inside the new Google Sites environment. So we helped UMBC here to do this on this site, and this is one of their research sites. And again, they wanted to be able to demonstrate how far they got. It's a dashboard site showing where they've put all their work and effort. This site helped them do that, and helping them move to new Google Sites has meant they can maintain the site in a much easier fashion. LA Alliance is another group of schools based out in Los Angeles, and they've got about 20 schools there that are all working together under the one auspice and trying to have the same vision and same goal. And so to help them achieve that, they contacted us at Steegle.com to give them one site to unify. They'd also built sites over the years themselves, and they wanted to bring them all together into one place. And as you can see, the site's extensive. They've got lots of various different departments you can go to. and work in various ways. They offer news from the homepage, so you can easily find that out, and they can submit some story ideas. They've got videos on the homepage as well, and you can go to the news archive to find more news there. They offer tools which are outside the G Suite environment, and so they have quick links to take them off to get them to the right place. And again, important messages delivered through videos on the homepage. One of the things that has worked really well for them is celebrating what the staff can do. And so they have a great program where they have a teacher of the year, a council of the year, and a principal of the year as well. And quite often they like to make shout outs to various members of staff who've done something great using the home office megaphone. They've got various awards that they give out to the staff. And again, this helps foster a really nice working relationship across the teams. Their site was so large, they separated their site off into separate areas. And so they've got a human resources site there, which offers various information about being employed within the organization. One of the key features here is they've used our Google Drive gadget. If you're unfamiliar, a Google site has not been able to search drive content that's hosted on the site. So the Google Drive gadget will do that for you. And you can, in this instance, this is a shared drive, a team drive, and you can search for various things. So for instance, if you want to find out about your maternity leave and what you're entitled to, you can do a search for maternity. It goes through the whole of the structure of this shared drive, and you can find various things which relate to the maternity leave that you are due. Finally, we'll do a quick demonstration of our Gator G Suite directory. Some of the organizations that we've mentioned are already using this. And so this can, again, give you an idea of how this can help you find the right information about your colleagues. You can search for a name. I'll just put in the letter A, and this will bring up anyone with that in their name or email address. This then gives you that person there that you can find where they are in the organization. You've got the contact details, and you can find more information about them by expanding them into their larger profile. As you can see, this also automatically generates an organization chart for you, so you can see where someone fits inside the organization, and you can use this organization chart to navigate around the actual organization to find people of interest. So you can go up the level to find a manager, up the level to go to the director level, and there you can see various people and where they sit in the organization. Not only can you search by the organization tree, if you want to see who's in which department, you can literally just click on that department there, find other people in the IT department in this instance, and this will bring them up. Also, you can do the same with their job title. You can click on their job title, and this will help you find them. Other searches that are available, you can find them in their office or location via their address. And also you can, if you want to, we can extend this to search for the other searchable features that you have that the G Suite directory API offers. Okay, so we'll have a look at some questions first of all. These ones were submitted before the webinar began. We'll answer these questions here, and then we'll be able to answer some questions also from the chat there. So first of all, we've got a number of questions about e-portfolios and templates. And to summarize the questions, we used to easily create classic sites templates for students for e-portfolios. How can we achieve this in new Google Sites? At the moment, new Google Sites doesn't offer templates, but Google announced in their latest conference, the Google Next conference, just a few weeks back there, that site templates would be something that would be available, and you'll be able to have your own custom site templates as well. This means in the future, you'll be able to make a template and people will be able to use it to then create their own e-portfolio from that. That doesn't help you now, of course, because that's not there, but there are techniques you can do to do this. You could take your site that you want to use as an e-portfolio, and what you want to do is you want to add that to a Google Drive folder that you shared with your students as viewers. The students can then visit that Google Drive folder, and they can right-click and choose to make a copy of that site. That will then give them their own copy, disconnected from your template, and they can then use that as their e-portfolio and edit that to their heart's content. Next, we had a question about discussion forums, questions and comments, and how can we add discussion forums, question boards and page comments in the new Google Sites. You've got a few options to do this. Google Sites itself doesn't provide anything at the moment to be able to do that, but right out of the bat, Google Groups is a feature that comes as G Suite, and if you're already using G Suite, then you've got it available to you. And Google Groups lets you have an email list, which also acts as a web forum, and also you can use it for sharing permissions as well. If you're not using G Suite, that doesn't matter. There are Google Groups available for personal accounts as well. Another approach you can take is Google Plus Communities. You'll have heard that Google Plus is closing down. It's closing down to the public, but it's remaining open for G Suite. So if you're a G Suite user, you can continue to use the Google Plus Communities. Google's going to change its name to Google Currents instead of Google Plus, and you'll be able to have a much nicer community-based approach to being able to answer questions and having discussions there. Finally, if you're adventurous and you like editing code, you can use third-party code tools like Discuss. We've got an example on our site on how to do that, and you can use that via the embed code tool that new Google Sites offers. One person asked, what about the future of gadgets? As you know, the classic Google Sites offered a large variety of gadgets, and this is something that no longer works in new Google Sites. So what's the approach that we can do? Is there any way to convert those gadgets? New Google Sites is not going to and never will support the classic site gadgets. It's a technology that Google stopped using a number of years ago, and it's still lingering on in the classic Google Sites. So that's not coming to new Google Sites. The approach that Google's taken instead is to provide the embed code tool, and that allows you to either embed an iframe from another website, or alternatively, if you get a code snippet, you can put items in there. Another way you can use that is we can help, or you, if you know how to code, can make your own Google Apps script, which you can then embed in the site. That allows you to have something very much like the gadget functionality, and you can use that to help people replace the gadgets and make a conversion that way. Announcements. A lot of people are disappointed that new Google Sites doesn't provide announcements pages like classic sites does, and therefore, what can you do to replace them in new Google Sites? Well, as with the discussion forum, again, you can use Google Groups, and that gives you the ability of being able to email out to the announcement, but also then you can embed that Google group in the Google site, and that will show you the content and the history of the announcements made there. That's one way you can replace them. Again, Google Plus Communities, or Google Currents as it will become, they will be able to be embedded in the site there, and you can make announcements there. So again, not only will they appear on the site, but if someone's got the Google Currents app installed on their mobile, they'll be able to get it wherever they are as well. Now let's have a look at some questions that have been submitted to us through the chat. We'll just find them there and see if they've already been answered. People have been asking if the recording of this event will be available. We should make it available as soon as we can within the next few weeks. Thanks, Peter, for answering that one. Hopefully you found the point of this webinar, Jennifer, that you've been able to see some of the benefits you can get from new Google Sites and how it can improve your organization and communication across the various different sites. We've got a question here about using tables of data like Google Sheets, and the problem is the compatibility views. Is this webinar going to show some solution? Unfortunately, Google doesn't give us some very good tools for embedding Google Sheets. Google Sheets just is what offers by Google Sheets. It's just the embed tool that they offer there. There are other third-party tools you can use, like Awesome Tables, and that can give a better representation of your Google Sheet. As Jennifer mentions there, if you are new to new Google Sites, you may find it difficult to get the site to look like how you want. That's something we can help with, or if you don't want us to help, that's fine. You've got various different examples on our website where you can see and get some inspiration. And again, The Google Sites Help Forum, where we contribute to quite frequently, has people answering questions there on how to make certain effects appear on your Google site. If your questions haven't been answered today, don't worry. We intend to have some future webinars where we can give more in-depth information. And if you want to make sure that you get notified of when those future events will happen, please go to Steegle.com/events. And there's a form that you can sign up, and then we can keep you in the loop of when we're going to have future events. As you can see, we're intending to look at how we can encourage teacher and student use, how you can create student portals, using Google Apps Scripts, how you can take advantage of that. If you've got lots of classic sites and you need to move them over to new sites, we'll see how that can be achievable and how we can help. We can look more in depth at new Google sites and help you get the most out of that. And one of the questions that we were asked that we can't cover today, unfortunately, because we're running out of time, was how can you integrate CRMs into new Google sites? And so again, we can show examples like that. Again, if you go to Steegle.com/events, you can suggest to us there various things that you'd like to see as well, and that will help us formulate what we want to do in future webinars. We want to give special thanks to the clients that we've demonstrated today: A-Frame Revision Courses, Simcoe Muskua Catholic District School Board, the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, the LA Alliance. And we want to thank them that gave us permission to demonstrate their sites, and these were live sites, these weren't mock-ups. These were live, ready for them to use, and so we give thanks to them for allowing us to do so. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll send out a survey for all those who registered their interest to be in this webinar, to check that this is the kind of thing they want to see, if it's the right kind of time of day for you, and again, any suggestions that you want to make so that we can improve these in the future. So we really appreciate your time. Thanks very much for listening. If you have been, you can sign up for the more Google Sites webinars at Steegle.com events. If you want to get in touch, please do so at Steegle.com/contact. Thanks again. Bye for now.